Hello and welcome to Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Lamed Daled in the Ozvater print, and we're finishing up the halachas of Avelos. And the Gemara has a couple of very relevant and interesting stories about the importance of Torah as in comparison to when a person is being mitame for his rebbe that passed away, or in order to go learn Torah to be mitame. Very interesting Gemara is just to see the importance of Torah, and also keep in mind that it's Machlokes Rishonim whether, and when the Gemara talks about that a person can be matame, is that for a suffix tuma? Is that a tuma d'oraisa, tuma d'rabbanan? If you keep that in mind, the blot will be a lot easier to understand. So it says here in the Yerushalmi that there was there are 10 kosas of wine that are drank in the base of Avel. Now, there's a parallel brisa quoted in the Bavli and Ksuba stuff, Ches Amud Beis, and I mentioned this again, the parallels between Samachos, Avelos, and also Ksubas, marriage, etc. There's another parallel, but the Gemara there says a very similar thing. I want to talk about a couple of things. So the first thing is that the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that, and there's a medrash that expounds on this even more, that when a person was chayiv misa of Bezdin, they would carry him out, and oftentimes they would do a chraza for certain types of averos they did. They would announce it, but everyone knew where this person was going, especially if they were, bringing him to skila, etc., etc. And it says that the precious people of Yerushalmi would give wine to the person, not to get him drunk, but just to alleviate some of the pain. Remember, Chazal tell us, is bar lo misa yafa, pick a good death. And Agav, it says that that's another source. There are two things Chazal learn from that pasuk. Obviously, the Pashup shot of Zekal Galaba Torah, etc. But bar lo misa yafa, pick a good misa and not to be menavel him, and also the Kaddish Isha Chirena. So again, you find the death and the marriage correlation. I wasn't even planning on saying that, but that's another connection. So it says that they would give a person wine in order to alleviate some of the pain. So it's brought down on this farm, based on Midrashim and Chazal, that's why when we give someone wine and we're drinking with someone, we say LChaim. Don't worry, you're not going out to Misa, this is LChaim wine. So it's interesting that perhaps since it was used at a Beis Avel, that could be another source for why we say LChaim, even though I haven't seen anybody that says this, but maybe it's to show that this is not Beis Avel wine because it was used. Okay. Anyway, so it says there were 10, and these 10 were, and it says exactly what they were done. 2 of them were before the meal, 5 of them were among the meal, and 3 after. And then it has different explanations. One is for Berachos Hamazon, one is Gemilas Chasadim, for people to give a thanks for the people that help with the burial, and one is Tanchumi Avelim. So when Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel died, now there's a Machlokes Girsos. What we have in front of us is it says when Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel died, they add another 3, one for the Chazan HaKnesses, one for the Rosh HaKnesses, and one for Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel himself. So let me just say one quick thing, and that is that even at a time of death, when somebody passed away, we're still getting into a mind of Akaras HaTov and saying thank you to people, and that's a very, very important lesson in itself. What is this Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel? So all the Rishonim and many of the Achronim bring down that basically there was a huge problem that funerals were costing lots and lots of money until Rabbi Gamliel came, and Chazal say that he was noig kalos ba'atzmo, and he said that I should only be buried in the simplest of all shrouds, and he changed everything. And now, instead of people just leaving their deceased ones and running because they couldn't afford burial, now everybody felt like Rabbi Gamliel came and said that he's going to be in this inexpensive linen garment. So as Akaras HaTov, they added this to him. The problem is that that's Rabbi Gamliel that the Gemara is talking about there. For example, there's many Rishonim that bring this down. Here it says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. So again, they seem to have had a girsa that it was Rabbi Gamliel and that it was in gratitude for that. According to our girsa, which most of the people have in front of us on the page, that it says Shimon ben Gamliel, that needs to be explained. I don't know what the answer is. I would love to hear from you guys. Anyway, there's another parallel sugya which basically finishes the page, which is Kohen Ma'ushi Talmud Lekavod Rabo. Is a Kohen allowed to be matami for his Rebbe? And we know Tosas and Zohar and other Makaros in Ksubas where this is discussed. But basically, the Gemara here does certainly really entertain this as a possibility that somebody could be matami for the Rebbe. Obviously, halacha l'maisa, most people, we paskin that one cannot if one's a Kohen. But there's also a very interesting thing where the Gemara tells a story about a Rav Kohen, who obviously was a Kohen. But if you look through these Gemaras, you'll see who's a Kohen and who's not, because you have stories with Rav Nechumia and Rav Chia bar Ava, and you have all these different stories of Ami, and just notice in the stories who's a Kohen, because there's a lot of historical interesting things, and this is Eretz Yisrael. Also, even the Yerushalmi, although it does seem to favor learning the Torah of Eretz Yisrael. We know Chazal tell us Ein Torah Torah Eretz Yisrael. It also acknowledges that if somebody has a Rebbe there or other reasons to go, there could be a reason to go to Chutz La'aretz. But you see, there's a very strong reason to stay local. Anyway, Ayin Sham, and I hope this helped your learning.